Hello and welcome to this episode of Real Lives. And today we're talking to Rosemary, life and relationship coach. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what led you to being a life coach and a relationship coach.
Thank you. My name is Rosemary Mupambwa. I've been widowed now for 20 years. I became a relationship coach after I lost my husband. I went through a lot of betrayal, and I suffered lots of unresolved grief, complicated grief, because I continued to lose a lot of family members after my husband passed away. I lost my dad, I lost all my brothers, I lost my mom. And before that, I had lost one of my best friends, who was like my rock from high school. I decided to leave the country and came overseas to North America here in Canada in 2003. And I've been here ever since. But what really led me to be a relationship coach and a life coach, and also to be an author, is the fact that I could not heal from my past. I could not heal from my grief. After I lost my husband, I just continued to be in the merry-go-round of grief. But I never really gave myself permission to mourn the death of my husband, to mourn the loss of my dad, my mom, and everybody else that I lost around me. And to add a fire to the pain, I went into relationships without taking some time to heal. I thought I had healed, but I didn't. And how I realized that I didn't heal was the two relationships that I thought were supposed to lead me to the altar ended up in disaster. And I was terribly heartbroken. So after the second heartbreak, that's when I thought, you know what? I need to take a step back and see why I'm continuing to attract the same broken men. Because the first relationship, we were together for almost 4 years. And after it ended, I was terribly heartbroken. And soon after that, I went into another one without even taking time to heal. And the second one was exactly the same, except it was a different guy from a different country with a different profession. But he was the same characteristics as the other one, but I didn't see it because all I wanted was, I was really desperate to find somebody to love me, to find somebody to be with me, because I was lonely. I was separated from my children for almost 6 years before they joined me. And in that period, I got really lonely, and I really wanted, a shoulder to cry on, somebody to be with. And I ended up with these two guys because when I started looking for a relationship, I was looking for a relationship in a desperate mode. And this is what happens when a lot of us women, we have been widowed or we have been divorced or heartbroken. You quickly jump into another relationship thinking that if I get into a relationship, I'm going to solve the problems from the previous relationship. But what we don't realize is we are piling our plates with more problems. So what I want to advise ladies is take some time to heal your heart. Take some time to heal your life. Heal yourself. Find out who you are. Because after you've been heartbroken, you kind of lose your identity. You lose who you are through the grieving. And the other thing also is, as women, we have this nurturing side in us, and we look after other people and we forget about us. We always put ourselves on the back burner, or we look at our lives from the sidelines. We forget that, you know what, Rosemary also needs some TLC, tender loving care. We forget. And then in the process, you are so confused, you don't even know what to do with yourself. And then what happens is you get into this roller coaster of being in relationships that are not leading you anywhere except getting you heartbroken.
Yes, thank you for that. What a tragic story. You know, it's such an awful lot of grief in one lifetime. You know, I mean, how on earth? What steps do you take to heal from that? What was the first step that you took when you sort of thought, right, I've got to stop. I need to take stock and do something for me.
What I did was I attended a women's retreat here in Canada a couple of years ago. And during that retreat, that's when I realized that, you know what, I have so much complicated grief that I don't know what to do with it. And that's also when I decided to be running retreats for women as well. And from that retreat, I decided to write this book.
Yes, I was about to ask you about the
Yeah.
book. You mentioned you were on board.
Yeah. So this became my healing manual because in that book, I kind of transferred all the pain, all the betrayal, and all the anger that I had in me into a book.
Mm.
So I had transferred all that grief somewhere and I was able to deal with it because when I was writing my book, I remember sometimes I would call my daughter 3 a.m., 4 a.m., and I would start bawling and crying, telling her, you know what? I thought I had forgiven so and so, but it looks like I haven't. I'm writing this book and it's opening up wounds that I thought had been healed. But in actual fact, I was bandaging the wounds, covering them up. But now,
Yes.
now that I'm trying to address them, I've realized that, you know what, all those wounds were not healed. The only thing that they did was, just cover up, but deep down, they were rotting. It was like I was
Yes.
carrying all this gunk in me. And that gunk had turned me into this tyrant woman, very irritable, very cut with people, and it was terrible. Even my kids were like, Mom, there's something wrong with you. This is no longer you. You used to be this happy, bubbly person. What happened to you? Because I had so much anger, but I had to learn to forgive. So that's the first thing that people need to do. Forgive those people that have betrayed you. Forgive that guy that broke your heart. Forgive that husband that threw the divorce papers on the kitchen counter. Let it go. It's not easy, I must say, but pray about it. Take steps, one step at a time. Once you learn to forgive, you will find that it's like 1,000 tons of bricks have been lifted off your shoulders. Because once you forgive, forgiveness is not for the other person, it's for you. Because it shows that, whatever those people were doing to you is no longer affecting you.
Yes.
No matter how much they try to redo those things, it won't affect you anymore because you know what? You have decided to let it go. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yes.
So that's the biggest thing that we face as women. That you know what, we we can't let it go. We can't because you want revenge. We go into this revenge mode. Like he has to suffer the same pain I suffered. She has to feel the same pain I felt. But guess what? You won't get the platform to do that. I tried it for many years. I wanted revenge. I wanted to cause pain to those people that caused me pain. But they never gave me, an opportunity, even to come and say, I'm sorry for what we did. They never did. I tried to call one of them and I told them that I'm going to be writing a book and everything that you did to me is in the book. And guess what they said? They said, oh, it's been 19 years. You still haven't forgotten. Huh, I thought you had let it go. You see? So it means it was now
Yeah.
up to me, whether to continue holding on to it or to forgive. And I decided, you know what? It's okay. I'll let it go because it looks like now it's up to me. So this
Yeah.
is how I also came up with a motto: healing is a choice. It's up to you to heal or to continue holding on to that pain.
Yes, yes. You're totally spot on. And I think, the first step, as you rightly say, is forgiveness.
Yes.
Did you find that the hardest step? Did you get your forgiveness through writing the book?
Yes.
Or was that step outside of the book, that was something else that you had to discover how to do?
I also wrote it in the book because it took me time to even research. I had to research about forgiveness. How do I forgive people? You can't just wake up one day and say, I've forgiven you. That's a lie. You have to take steps to forgive, because when you are forgiven, you have to know what you are forgiving a person for. What did they do to you that you want to forgive them for? And how
Yeah.
are you going to forgive them?
Yes.
Yeah. So those are the main steps that everybody needs to know. Why are you forgiving the other person? What have they done to you? What damage did they cause in your life? Once you know those two, then you will make a decision to forgive. Otherwise, if people have betrayed you and then you say, okay, I forgive you. No, that's not true. You haven't forgiven them. And there's also a saying that people will say, okay, I forgive you, but I will never forget. Okay, is that true?
No, I mean, if you're doing that, you're just replaying it in your own head all the time, and you're actually perpetuating all the pain that goes with it, and the hurt that you feel. And it is, as you rightly say, it's only you that feels it. The other person isn't feeling it, and the only person you're actually damaging is yourself. So yes, I think you're right to sort of recognize first of all what it is that you have to forgive that person for, and then decide how to come to a place where you can forgive and let it go.
Yeah. It's a journey, I must also add. Forgiveness is the same as healing, because you cannot heal before you forget, before you forgive and forgive too. Yeah. It might take time to forget, but baby steps. Don't force yourself to forgive people. The same with healing. Don't force yourself to heal. No. Be in the right place and in the right mind to forgive, to let go, and heal.
Yes. Did you find that writing the book then was your way of finding out how to forgive, how to heal, and how to move on with your life? Or were you doing other things alongside the book along a journey of self-discovery as well?
Yeah, the first thing I did was to write my book. Writing my book also helped me to reopen all those wounds and all those doors that I thought had been shut. Because in order to get proper healing, you have to go through the mourning and the grieving process properly. Most of us, we kind of go around the pain because you don't want to feel the pain. But the only thing that you are doing is you are cheating yourself, because you will not heal. You are just avoiding the pain. Going through the pain, like when I was writing my book, I was reliving those painful moments of losing my husband, of losing my dad, of losing my mom, and going through those broken relationships that I was in. One of them really, really brought me down to my knees because of the things that he did to me. But I had to think again. Do I continue holding on to the pain? Because this guy has broken my heart and he has moved on with his life. Soon after we broke up, he was with another woman. But that woman also found out within 3 months that he wasn't a good guy, and she broke up with him. But you know what? He had moved on too.
Yes.
So it was up to me whether I really wanted to continue holding on to that heartbreak or not. So I had so much that I had to deal with. The loss of my parents, the loss of my husband, and all these heartbreaks. So writing my book helped me to go through the pain again. So now it's like my healing manual. And as I shown you, you see all these stickers.
Yes.
I read this book all the time. You know, when I'm feeling down or when a familiar situation comes up, I run to my healing manual. So it's like my healing manual. Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I go everywhere with it. And also, I've also published another one, this one here, A Triumphant Snapback. And this is also for those people that have been heartbroken, divorced, and widowed as well. And this one also helped me to really address like the painful issues that I had gone through. And yeah, writing has really helped me to get over my my grief and my pain.
Yes, yes. I think what's the one thing from your books that you would offer to listeners as a piece of the one necessary piece of advice from your book? What's the most important point that you could gain from your books?
The first one is to realize that you have grief that you need to take care of. A lot of people, when you mention grief, they go like, "Oh, I didn't lose anybody through death." But grief can come from when you're heartbroken. That's grief because you are hurting. When you go through a divorce, you are hurting. When you lose a job, you are hurting. So anything that causes you pain, that's grief. So once you realize that you have some issues that you need to deal with, accept it. That's the biggest thing. A lot of people, they don't want to accept that they have a problem, grief, unresolved grief, complicated grief. The second one is go through the realization problem. Find out what exactly is hurting me. It's not just that you lost your husband that's hurting you only. No, it's also what happened after your husband passed away. For me, it's not only that my husband passed away, but it's the events that surrounded the death of my husband and the aftermath. And it's not only that I lost my dad, it's what happened after I lost my dad. It's not only that I was heartbroken after those two relationships, but it's what happened within those relationships and what happened after the relationships. How did that make me feel? How did that change my life? Most of the times we don't look at that. You only say, "Oh yeah, he broke my heart." But how did he break your heart? You know, what did you contribute to that breakup? So for me, I realized that I used to accept people to talk to me the way they felt like. You know, I thought, you know, if you are this lovey-dovey person, then you'll be able to keep the guy. And the other thing also, I thought I could change those guys to what I wanted later on. But I soon realized, no, you cannot change a man. The only person that can change a man is the mom when she's changing his diaper. That's only.
I think that's very true.
Yeah.
We have to change ourselves, and by changing our behaviour, we will change the way people behave towards us.
Yes.
And I think you're right in that if we don't actually become consciously aware of what we're doing and change it, we're just going to keep repeating the patterns because we're still going to be doing the same behaviours and receiving the same behaviour back. So I think you have to take a step, don't you, to become consciously aware, do something active to change it, and then watch how people react to that change. And that's where the change of life comes in.
Yes, yes, yeah. And so I've also come up with a motto, another one, that, you know what, it's no use crying about your pain and your situation. without taking any action to change it positively.
Mm.
I call that self-destructive behavior, because the only person you are destroying is you and those people around you. So you cry that, oh yeah, he broke my heart for years. He divorced me. He dumped me. But okay, how long are you going to cry? You know, cry
Yes.
and take some action to change the situation. Don't just continue crying, thinking that, your broken heart is going to come together one day. No, you have to take some action. You have to take some steps to heal your heart step by step.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. You come across as a very enthusiastic, bubbly, optimistic person. You've obviously enjoyed your journey, and do you now feel that you are in a much better place, that you have achieved healing and you're able to, have you moved on into better relationships?
Yes, I've moved on now to a much, much better relationship. This guy just makes me feel like a queen again. I have found happiness again. At one point, I thought, you know what? I'm getting close to my retiring years. I'm going to be 60 this year. And I thought,
No.
yeah.
You look amazing.
Thank you. And I thought, I don't think I'm gonna, get somebody, because a lot of women, we kind of look down upon ourselves and think that, you know what, our shelf life is expiring. Because when I was talking to my other friends that, you know what, I think it's time for me to start dating again. They're like, oh, what do you need a man for? You are almost retiring age. And I said, that's the time that I need somebody to be with me. My kids are grown now, right? And they are all living their own lives. And I am back to that lonely zone again. And I need somebody to be with me. So yes, I have found somebody and I am really, really happy.
Excellent. That's such good news. So, you deserve it after everything you've been through,
Yes.
and you've obviously been very proactive in your journey of self-healing, and so you deserve the relationship you've got, and say you do, you look amazing.
Thank you.
How can people buy your book? And because maybe buying a book and reading your book is the first step to their own healing. Be a bit of an insight into their own lives by reading your books.
Yeah. So
how can they buy them?
Okay. Sorry. My books are on Amazon.
Okay.
Amazon.ca, Amazon.com. I think they are over in seven countries right now.
Okay.
Yeah. So Amazon.ca, there in France, there is in Italy, there is in the US, of course, in the UK, and also there's another one in Germany as well. People can access it. Even as far as India, because one lady from India called me the other day to say, I just finished reading my book. Wow, thank you so much. So it's actually worldwide that you can access both books. They are on Amazon, and they are also on Barnes and Nobles, which is an online in Kindle version. But on Amazon, you can find the books in Audible version too. So for those that don't want to read, you can listen to the book whilst you are driving, because you can and then you download it to your phone and then you connect it to your car and you listen to the book while you are on the road.
Yes, it's an excellent way. I must admit, I listen to audiobooks a lot. I thoroughly enjoy audiobooks. It must be great to have people contact you like that and say, wow, you've made a difference to me.
Yeah.
It's a great feeling.
Yeah. It makes me happy that, what, my book is also helping other people.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I think this is one of the reasons for the podcast. I think sharing stories and experiences, I think, are really helpful to other people.
Yes.
Because we might have said something that just inspires somebody else, or somebody suddenly listens to it and goes, oh, well, actually, I can relate to that. That's me. Maybe I should be doing something about it.
Yeah.
So I think, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story. We will put all the contact details underneath this video and on a contact card at the end. How can people contact you? Have you got an email address that they can email you on?
Yes, my email address is roseslifecoaching@gmail.com. The other one is rtm@roseslifecoaching.com. They can also go to my website, roseslifecoaching.com. So from the website, they can see my page on speaking, my page on relationships, my page on retreats as well, and my page on healing.
Excellent. So say all that information will be available. Thank you so much for talking to me today. It's been a real pleasure. You've been an inspiration, and I'm sure that you will inspire lots of other people to maybe make changes in their lives.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Jackie.
Thank you.
Yeah,
It's been a pleasure. It's been my pleasure. So thank you very much for listening and watching this podcast. And if you want to see more, then subscribe to the channel or hit the notification bell. See you soon.
Thank you.